We're all a bit obsessed with the idea of transformation, right? That big, dramatic before and after. But what happens after the after? What do you do when you've hit that huge goal and you're just kind of left there wondering, okay, now what? All right, let's get into it. Today, we're going to explore that quiet, crucial art of what comes next, how to make your growth last without grinding yourself into dust.
Seriously, think about it for a second. You lost the weight, you got the promotion, you finished that massive project, there's that awesome moment of victory, and then there's this weird kind of hollow silence. That question, what now, is actually the starting point for the most important phase of your growth, the one nobody ever really talks about.
And that is the whole game. This phase isn't an ending at all. It's the beginning of making your success stick, making it truly sustainable. It's where you shift from chasing the next high to actually integrating what you've achieved into who you are.
To even get there, though, we first have to bust a huge myth, a misconception that trips up pretty much every single person who's driven to improve. It's what we can call the myth of arriving.
Oh man, this is such a powerful trap. It's that little voice in your head that whispers, once I just get this one thing, I'll finally be done. I'll be happy. I'll be set. But as anyone who's ever reached a big goal knows, that feeling, it's fleeting. The horizon you were chasing just reveals another horizon way out beyond it.
So here's the truth of it. Growth isn't a destination you reach. It's the constant act of becoming. You don't complete your personal development. You just learn to calibrate it, to constantly adjust as you change and the world around you changes too.
And here's a really cool way to think about this shift. We're often taught to see growth like a ladder, right? You just climb up rung by rung until you get to the top. The end. But the reality is so much more like a spiral. You actually circle back to the same core lessons over and over, but each time you revisit them, you're at a higher altitude. You've got a new perspective, a deeper understanding. So it's not about finishing, it's all about deepening.
Okay, so if growth is this continuous spiral, how in the world do you navigate it? Well, the first tool is one we often overlook, reflection, but probably not in the way you're thinking.
And this distinction is absolutely critical. We're not talking about just passively looking back on the past, kind of lost in old memories. We're talking about actively using your experiences as a map for the future. It's the pause that turns all that chaos into clarity. That moment you stop and ask, okay, what did this actually teach me?
This process is really an engine for learning. First, you have the experience. You hit the milestone. Then comes the really important part, that intentional pause to reflect. That reflection is what turns the raw experience into useful data, insights about what worked, what didn't, and why. And that data is what gives you a clear direction for your next move. If you skip that reflection step, you're just collecting experiences with no map.
Now this leads us right to our second tool. Once you've got that direction from reflecting, the goal isn't just to, try harder. It's about building smarter structures around you. It's about optimizing your system, not just white-knuckling it yourself.
I absolutely love this because it challenges everything we've been told about the grind and hustling 24/7. We think success is all about pure willpower. But relying only on willpower is like trying to power a whole city with a single AA battery. It's exhausting, it's inefficient, and it's exactly why our progress so often feels like we're stopping and starting all the time.
So if your growth feels like you're constantly pushing a giant boulder uphill, it's probably not a you problem, it's a systems problem. A good system doesn't force you to make the right choice. It makes the right choice the easiest one, the default. It's about designing your environment and your routines so they support your goals automatically, which saves your precious energy for what really matters. Let's really reframe this for a second. So often, we wear our burnout like a badge of honor, right? Like it's proof that we've been working hard. But it's not. Burnout is basically a check engine light for your life. It's just feedback telling you that the way you're operating isn't sustainable, and that something in your process needs to change.
And here's the thing. As you evolve, your systems have to evolve too. The goals you set 6 months ago or a year ago might not even fit the person you are today. And that's not failure, that is growth. So you have to keep asking yourself this question, who am I now? And based on that, what does success and fulfillment actually look like for me right in this moment?
This all brings us to our final concept, the one that really ties everything together. See, sustainable growth isn't about these massive, dramatic overhauls every few years. It's about finding a consistent, gentle rhythm of refinement.
And you don't need a week-long silent retreat to do it. All you need is a simple cadence of check-ins. A quick question at the end of the day, hey, what worked today? A quiet moment on a Sunday morning. Where did I drift off course this week? And maybe a dedicated hour once a month to look at the bigger picture and ask, what really needs to change? This is what keeps your evolution alive and stops you from drifting too far.
What this rhythm creates is true adaptability. You stop just reacting to crises when things fall apart. Instead, you start anticipating change. You're meeting life halfway, making these small, intelligent adjustments along the way, instead of waiting for life to force you into a massive, painful one. Ultimately, the goal of all of this is what we can call integration. It's that point where reflection and systems thinking and this rhythm of refinement, they aren't things on your to-do list anymore. They become your default mode. It's when growth stops feeling forced and starts to feel natural, like a momentum that just carries itself forward.
So here's a fantastic takeaway from all this. A kind of commitment statement you can use for yourself. It's a promise not to force it or rush it, but to evolve in rhythm with your own life. To stay curious about who you're becoming, to stay aligned with what truly matters to you now, and to stay adaptable for whatever comes next.
So after all this, the reflection, the systems, the refinement, it's really tempting to think, okay, I've finally figured it out. I've arrived. But remember that myth we talked about? Growth doesn't end here.
And that leads to the most empowering idea of all. By adopting this rhythm of refinement, you're not just maintaining your progress, you are setting the stage for it to compound. Each tiny adjustment builds on the last, creating this incredible exponential growth over time. The point isn't to arrive, the point is to keep arriving, again and again, to a deeper, wiser, and more aligned version of yourself.